Hi fans, I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and this is episode 49 of the airflow and pressure differential comparison of 120 millimeter fans. As always, I'd like to remind you that this is my airflow meter or anemometer, and it has 4 decimal places of precision for the area setting, and I calibrated this against the Noctua A12x25, but unfortunately, because it doesn't have 5 decimal places, it's a bit off as the numbers get larger and larger. I'm not a mathematician, so I cannot figure out the calculation to make corrections for the airflow readings. That's the bad news. Well, aside from the fact that I don't have a job or money right now to buy a replacement. And I only have one patron on Patreon, and that's Rudik. Thank you, Rudik, for all of your help. And then the good news is that even though the numbers are distorted as the numbers get bigger, the distortion gets bigger. So that means that it's the airflow numbers are still valid for doing the rankings. So don't have to worry about that. I do also do the airflow in cubic meters per hour instead of cubic feet per minute. All right, the fans that we're going to be looking at today, and this is in a Tusser box because Tusser was selling it under their own brand, but it's not a Tusser fan. It is actually a Pano-Mounts fan. It comes with a grill, and it comes with extra bolts. So instead of 4, you get 8. It is Molex D only, 2 wires, so it only runs at 1 speed unless you have a fan controller. And it is the model number 120381 pack. And that's the first one. The second one I have 2 of, and it is the Phanteks M25-120. The third one is the Enermax TB Silence. The fourth one is the Phobya NB-eLoop, or I'm not sure if NB is a reference to a noise blocker or if it has some other meaning to it. And then the last one is the Scythe Wonder Tornado 2000 RPM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen the RPM results. I'd like you to look at those RPM results and then look at pictures of the fan, noting the gap, if any, between the blades, not front to back, but side to side. If there is a big gap, it's probably an airflow fan. If there is no gap, it may be hybrid. It may be a static pressure fan. Also, look at the blade design, the frame design, the diameter of the hub, and so on, and see if you can figure out from these 5 fans I'm going to show you which one has the worst and which one has the best airflow, and the same for pressure differential, worst and best. And then put it in the comments and save it. Please don't change it once you've seen the results. I want you to learn how to evaluate a fan by looking at it. And this is not the easiest thing in the world to do. It is something that takes practice and experience and an understanding of how differences in a fan cause differences in airflow and pressure differential. Now you can see that the list is up. And this, by the way, is not a competition. This is a learning experience. It's also meant to help people who are trying to get information about fans, especially if they're buying fans or they're trying to figure out which fan to buy. And so you can see that the Phobya is the slowest. It's rated at 1,000, but it came in at 1190. Phanteks rated at 2,000, came in at 2060. Scythe 2,000, 2090. The Enermax was rated at 1,200, but came in at 3101.1. And you know what? I'm going to just pause really quickly because that seems quite odd to me, and I just want to verify that number. And it's a good thing I checked. I had a typo there. It's actually 1301.1. So the Phobya is at 1190 instead of 1,000. The Enermax at 1,200 instead of 1301.1. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to rush, and I shouldn't do that. Rushing always leads to mistakes. So the Phobya is at 1190, rated at 1,000. The Enermax is rated at 1,200, came in at 1301.1, and so on and so on. You can see for yourself that the Pano-Mounts is by far the fastest. The fan was made for them by YLQ, I think. It's not entirely certain, but it seems that way. And then it was sold to Tusser. They tried this, and they sold it under their brand. It's a little bit complicated sometimes with these companies. All right, so place your guesses in the comments, save it, and we will move on to the airflow results in just a moment here. Please pause. And here we go. The Phobya is actually the weakest in terms of airflow at only 118.8 cmhs. The Scythe is in 4th place, the Enermax in 3rd place. The Phanteks is significantly better, but only in 2nd place because the Pano-Mount spanked them all at 324 cmhs. Now, let's go ahead and see what the pressure differential results say. The Phobya, again, was the weakest at only 64 degrees. The Enermax was at 76 degrees, a big jump. The Scythe made another jump, but only a small one, to 80. The Phanteks to 83, and the Pano-Mounts beat them at 86. That means that those 4 fans will be in the 4th quartile. I think the Phobya will be in the 2nd quartile. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overall list and see where all these fans place. Okay, so we can see that the Phobya is also for RPMs, the weakest of the 5, and that put it into the 1st quartile of the RPM list. This is sorted by RPMs if you didn't figure that out already. And at the very edge of the 2nd and 1st quartile is the Enermax. Let's see where we are with the 3rd quartile. I'm not sure about those two. Let me just see how. Oh, actually, the Phanteks I think is in the 3rd quartile. The Scythe is in the 4th quartile, along with the Pano-Mounts. Not surprising that the Pano-Mounts would be so close to the bottom. Please do keep in mind that I should show you the list. All right, so sorry about that. I did not notice that I had forgotten. Yeah, I'm been under a lot of pressure, and it's making me very forgetful. So the Phobya is here right in the first half of the 1st quartile, the lowest quartile or worst quartile with the Enermax at the other end of it. Nothing in the 2nd quartile, but the Phanteks and the Scythe are in the 3rd quartile. Well, no, actually, you know what? The Scythe is in the 4th quartile with the Pano-Mounts. All right. So please, again, keep in mind, RPMs do have an impact on performance. However, there's not always a direct relationship between the RPMs and the performance specifications because of other factors that play a major role, like the blades and the hub and the frame, and bearings and quality and other stuff. So let me resort this according to pressure differential for you. All right. We can see in the 1st quartile we have nothing from the 5 fans. Let's take a look at the 2nd quartile. We're in the 2nd quartile, and oh, the Phobya is barely in it. And now the 3rd quartile, nothing it looks like, but in the 4th quartile, Enermax, Scythe, Phanteks, and Pano-Mounts. That's pretty good. All right. Now we're going to look at the airflow results, which is what you're waiting for. And we can see that the Phobya is in the 1st quartile here, meaning it does not have impressive airflow. Not a particularly good fan for exhaust, which is what airflow fans are for, unless they're a hybrid fan and have really good static pressure too. So this is a good fan for something that you need to be quiet. And it is quiet. It is very, very quiet. But it just doesn't perform well. And then the Scythe is also in the 1st quartile. The Enermax is in the 2nd quartile. And that number, 144, it's actually a good amount of airflow. That's definitely above average. Where are the other ones? Well, here they come. Phanteks is in the fourth quarter with the Pano-Mounts, and they definitely both have really good pressure. Airflow. I'm going to scoot this over, and we're going to go backwards through the list from the best to the worst. And I'm doing this so you can see all three, but sorted on airflow. So you can kind of maybe come up with some theories if you also look at the pictures as to why the results are the way they are, why some of the fans have low RPMs but high airflow or high pressure differential, and why some fans are the opposite and some fans the RPMs definitely predict. I'm going to go slowly. Whether you are learning or you're searching for fans or you're verifying whether the fan you want or are considering is a good airflow fan. Hopefully it's in the list already. I do have I do have probably 100 more fans to go, so yeah, it's gonna be several more episodes before I get to the end of this series, at least for the time being. I don't often see fans, 120 millimeter fans on my donor sites list, especially not ones that people are generally interested in, which are the ones that have been made to look special, even though it's just window dressing in reality, which is to say, a lot of times the fans that are being sold these days, they may look flashy and have really fancy lighting. They may have very interesting physical designs, but physical design is important if it impacts performance, but visuals are not important. Always keep that in mind. You're sacrificing performance to get something that looks the way you want it to look. If you have a performance computer, you can't do that because you're going to overheat your computer potentially, and that's obviously not a good thing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned what you set out to learn today. Have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.